Welcome back to World War Live, everybody. I'm your host, Conrad Franz. It's a good Tuesday evening. We're getting close to Christmas, so I hope everybody's having a Merry Christmas. I hope everybody is enjoying the Advent season. I hope everybody is, fasting and remembering the birth and incarnation of our Lord Jesus Christ, and thinking of what that really means for us as a society of which, unfortunately, we live. So you can see the title here. I have a few things I want to talk about in a more general cultural sense, like I try to do when I can on this stream, because there's certain things I want to talk about that aren't really breaking news, but here then on World War Now every week we're yapping for 2 hours about all this autistic geopolitical minutia. But sometimes I just want to be like, yo, man, women really be like, or other such commentary. So that's a lot of ways what I want to do the stream for. But so much stuff has happens in the world as well when it comes to World War III that I end up talking about that stuff on here as well. So thank you to everybody for tuning in. If you want to ask a question, be sure to send in a super chat. We already have $5 from Jonathan Kelly. $5 tithes time. He knows what's up, man. He knows Tuesday comes around. You got to bust open that wallet and you got to be like, Conrad needs this bag because World War III is here and someone's got to talk about it. And that's what he's up to. Someone's got to talk about, these women, and someone's got to talk about, what these other nefarious characters with funny hats are up to. So thank you, Jonathan. Always one of our most loyal soldiers here in the chat. So great to be here, everybody. It's 7:53 p.m. Central Time here on a Tuesday, and there's a lot of streams to compete with on any given night. You got to compete with the Backlash. You got to compete with Father Peter. You got to compete with David or Cleave to Antiquity or David Patrick Harry or any number of other people. So thank you for tuning in to the World War Live Conrad broadcast. It really means a lot. I know there's a lot of programming options that you could. Bro says, interesting to see if he talks about the Candace debacle. Well, send a super chat and I'll talk about it. I'll be honest. I don't have a huge amount of, I've sort of kept it out of I've sort of remained ignorant of the Candace Owens thing because I never watched her show. I don't watch her show, but, yes. So maybe if someone sends a super chat or we have time, I can talk about the Candace Owens episode. But before we dive into some of the content we have to talk about, I, of course, have to encourage everybody to follow worldwarnow.co. It's linked down below, of course, as always. But get on the Substack, get behind the paywall. You get access to all sorts of incredible content. Of course, very soon we should have our latest Ether Hour episode, which I can reveal is with Eva Bartlett. She has a big Twitter account, a big Telegram. She's well known on RT for many years now. She's lived in Gaza. She's lived in Syria, all over the place. She's lived in Donbass before the special military operation began. So this was a whole lot of this is where it comes from, right? This is where all the content comes from. Sorry, I'm looking at the chat as well. But we are right here. You can get access to our latest episode before the Eva Bartlett episode drops here with Father Peter. You can get access to all sorts of, click here for the Ether Hour tab. And all these episodes, brief, free previews anywhere from, 10 to 20, 30 minutes are available for everybody. But again, 2.5 hours with George McMillan, an hour 43 minutes with Ivan Vorobievsky talking about right-wing stuff in Russia. Huge episodes with Eschaton Vigil, Jonathan. Huge episodes with Charles Bausman. Episodes with Gregory Hears, not just about St. John Vatatzis, but also Nikiforos Fokas. So please, if you support the show, if you enjoy the stream, if you enjoy what we do here at World War Now, so consider getting behind the paywall and supporting us so I can continue to do this full time and bring everybody more content. The only other things I wanted to say as well is be sure to check out this article on orthochristian.com if you haven't already. Who knew yours truly would be interviewed on everyone's favorite website, at least my favorite website. Like when I open a new browser tab on Chrome or in Safari or wherever it is, Ortho Christian opens up. So it was very crazy to see myself on the front page at one point. So check this out. It's a good, it's a flattering interview, I guess. I talk about myself. So if you want to hear my backstory, check this out. It's some real lore. I can drop this in the chat if that's what people want. I guess people want me to talk about the Candace Owens, Erica Kirk thing. I don't know. I'm a male. I don't keep up with this woman drama, but I guess If you want me to talk about it, I guess we could. I don't really even know what has recently been said. Is Candace like backing off now? I saw that she said that Charlie Kirk appeared to her in another dream and said that he was betrayed or something. So I don't know. I'm not. I don't know a whole lot about this stuff. I mean, when she started talking about dreams, I knew the whole thing was just I sort of lost interest. So, but look, I'm not judging. We got some Candace heads in the chat. That's how these things go. But we got a lot of mods in chat this time. We got Alan Wong. We got Panos. Uh we got two different Alan Wong accounts as far as I can tell. We've got Paisios in chat. So we've got it's okay, Paisios. You don't have any money to super chat. You're in the you're in the spiritual warfare zone. You're doing what needs to be done. So thanks everybody for tuning in. We got 567. Blessed Nativity Fast to All, the greatest winter story. So true. Thank you, Porphyry Allen. He says Father Peter is off tonight. Oh, that's true. So maybe we could have more people watching. Oh, big $20 from Jonathan Kelly. 1999. Your thoughts? Argument that we're closer to Antichrist because technology enabling worldwide control is emerging. But if you take magic seriously, these occultists always had that capacity. Well, occultists may have always had the capacity to do any number of things, but a lot of this stuff has to do with like accepting it, right? Like a lot of occultism and magic and dark magic and demon stuff has to do with you have to like voluntarily invite that stuff onto you. So sure, an evil wizard could do some things to some people and corrupt them, but the idea that some kind of evil sorcerer or like a mere mortal person would be able to do what the Antichrist is going to do with the like worldwide system of control and have so many people worship them. I mean, I just don't think that was always possible. I mean, and that's why I think it's so important to recognize that, the millennial reign of Christ, all this stuff, that people think is going to happen after the rapture and all this other Jewish nonsense. That what that really means is Christ, currently sitting at the right hand of the Father, and the church on earth being, his body and being, the kingdom of God. You can enter into the kingdom. As I say, you can become a citizen of the kingdom of God, by entering into the sacraments and being baptized into the church and receiving the Eucharist and again worshiping and communing and again receiving unction and all of the blessings that come with the church. So yeah, and I think a lot of this technology, it allows people to, you slowly get accustomed to it like a boiling frog. And next thing you know, I mean, I see people walking around with meta glasses and all these other weird VR, AR stuff. And I know people that regularly talk to Chat GPT and AI. Like the movie Her is just like completely like people have gone well beyond that. Like that's no longer a predictive movie. That future is now the past at this point. So it's very crazy what we're seeing. And I do think that it might get so much crazier before the Antichrist finally comes that we can't even imagine it. But the capacity truly has arrived. In the past 20 years, something that could amount to the Antichrist, I think at a biblical level, is technologically very, very possible. We've got Father James. What a great article. I can't wait for the to be continued. It's true. I talk about in the to be continued parts, I talk about my time in Donbass and some other things that have to do with Orthodoxy in America and my time in Russia and the connections between the two and other such things. So be sure to follow along. Be sure to keep your ear to the ground when it comes to Ortho Christian and all of the World War Now social media, because obviously we will be posting that there when it comes to when it comes out. We will be posting it, obviously. So I've also obviously got Telegram pulled up here. I'm trying to keep tabs on everything. We've got somewhat of an escalation in Venezuela that I realized I was probably going to have to talk about. I believe it is the U.S. is trying to declare a full naval and aerial blockade on Venezuela entirely. What am I looking at? Oh, that's why I'm looking at the wrong channel. So yeah, I mean, there's other stuff I could yap about as well. People talk about next time I'm going back to Russia. I don't know when I'm going back to Russia. No immediate plans. So I'm enjoying my time in the U.S. of A. as of now. But yeah, I'll talk about this here. This says United States Donald J. Trump announces a total aerial and naval blockade against Venezuela until Maduro is out. This is what Trump said on Truth Social. Venezuela is completely surrounded by the largest armada ever assembled in the history of South America. It will only get bigger, and the shock to them will be like nothing they have ever seen before. Until such time as they return to the United States of America all of the oil, land, and the other assets that they previously stole from us. The illegitimate Maduro regime is using oil from these stolen oil fields to finance themselves, drug terrorism, human trafficking, murder, and kidnapping. For the theft of our assets and many other reasons, including terrorism, drug smuggling, and human trafficking, the Venezuelan regime has been designated a foreign terrorist organization. Therefore, today I'm ordering a total and complete blockade of all sanctioned oil tankers going into and out of Venezuela. The illegal aliens and criminals that the Maduro regime has sent to the United States during the weak and inept Biden administration are being returned to Venezuela at a rapid pace. America will not allow criminals, terrorists, or other countries to rob, threaten, or harm our nation. And likewise, we will not allow a hostile regime to take our oil, land, or other assets, all of which, it's hard to read these Trump tweets because it's completely grammatically incorrect, all of which must be returned to the United States immediately. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Yeah, I don't know if that's true about the aliens being returned to Venezuela at a rapid pace. As far as I was aware, the deportation flights to Venezuela had totally stopped because of what the United States was doing. So, Paisios, first live in 3 months. Good to have you back, man. Yeah, text me whatever you got to text me, man. No worries. But yeah, so it appears that again, we keep slow marching the escalations with Venezuela, even though it seems that, strikes are inevitable. Particularly Marco Rubio, the State Department, they have no interest in backing off of this. They have no interest in, even if they got all those concessions with the like what Trump just described. Maduro supposedly at least offered all of those things, but Trump and specifically with direction from the State Department and the Rubio branch were like, no, like all they want is Maduro. And I think we understand why that's sticking around. And as many have said, again, people accuse you of being a third worldist if you sort of support quote unquote BRICS and these other, which I don't. I think BRICS is a bit whatever. But if you look at this here, this is been going viral on Twitter. It's breaking Israeli publication. Israel Hayom says it was Israel that pushed Trump to bring about regime change in Venezuela. It says, since Hugo Chavez's rise to power, Venezuela has become one of the most hostile countries to Israel and Zionism in Latin America. Chavez, who saw himself as Fidel Castro's ideological heir and an ally of other leftist regimes, severed diplomatic relations with Israel during Operation Cast-led in 2009, accused Israel of genocide against the Palestinian people, and compared its policies to Nazi conduct. His successor continued the anti-Israel line with even more intensity. Thus, Venezuela, which previously maintained warm relations with Israel and even purchased security technologies from it, became a center of hostile propaganda towards Zionism and the Jewish state. What does it say? It says, will you restore diplomatic relations with Israel and establish Venezuela's embassy location in Jerusalem, as President Donald Trump did? And I believe this is a question that's been asked too. Maria Corina Machado, the winner of the Peace Prize, says, certainly Venezuela will be Israel's closest ally in Latin America. I don't know about that, man. Like, if you're going to try to beat Javier Milei as to being Israel's closest ally in Latin America, I mean, you gotta just get on your knees and just start going to town, man, because look, man, his first trip after winning was Chabad Lubavitch, and then he went to Israel and he was at the wall, and he's trying to convert it to himself. He's going to convert to Judaism. So that's a tall order. He says, we rely on Israel's support in dismantling Maduro's crime regime, and in the transition to democracy, together will lead a global struggle against crime and terror. The Venezuelan people deeply admire Israel and will always defend its rights, blah, 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 blah. Insufferable. Can't even read that. So that seems to be a big part of why Israel and why Venezuela is, so staunchly in the crosshairs, is because Israel wants to see Maduro gone. Israel views the Chavists, like they view the mullahs and the Ayatollah and the revolutionary regime in Iran and Baathists. They want entire blocks, ideologies, networks, systems, lineages, the dynasty of Chavez and his revolution and everything. They need that all snuffed out because they view it, anything that has any roots or any, anti-Zionist factions in it has to be completely wiped out. Got a video here. It says, watch, Trump admits he's the first Jewish president of the United States. Mark Levin says, 6 years ago, I was up here and I said, this is our first Jewish president. Trump, it's true. Mark Levin, now he's the first Jewish president to serve 2 non-consecutive terms. Trump, true, that's true. This guy's just saying, he's just openly saying, I mean, I don't know if he's been, been circumcised or been whatever the Jewish thing is where they do all the stuff to you to say you're Jewish now. But I mean, who knows? Maybe. And if that's true, then again, I'm not saying Trump is the Antichrist, but Trump is definitely a type of Antichrist. I mean, the scriptures talk about, the Bible talks about how the Antichrist will lie, the Antichrist will be vain. And like, look, I'm not trying to do a like orange man bad, but like this guy is just like off the goop with like the vanity, man. Like the Rob Reiner, right? The director, actor who was, a libtard, an imbecile, someone with stupid opinions, say one of these anti-white Hebes, one of these characters. But look, he was murdered by his drug addict son with his wife. It's not really something you want to. I mean, again, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not some particularly good person, and the idea that I have no interest in joking about that. I have no interest in dunking on the guy. I have no interest in talking about his stupid political opinions. But Trump is, gets on True Social and is like, he got killed by Trump. He got killed by Trump derangement syndrome. Like this, all this nonsense, and it's just like, dude, like, what are we doing here? Like Trump somehow gets on. It's like, I got to make this about myself. It's like a guy was brutally murdered by his own son. Like this is insane. And so I think, that level of delusional narcissism from the leader of the most powerful country in the world, we can't take that lightly. It's some real antichrist type nonsense. I'm not saying Trump's the antichrist, but the typology there is insane. We got $10 from Silver Sight. Thank you very much. She says, how can we break free from foreign control and institute a monarchy? Is it a real possibility for America? A monarchy likened to that of the ancient Byzantine? I don't really think so. As far as America, I mean, unfortunately for America, America is like sort of ontologically anti-monarchist. Like our country was founded on a revolution against a monarch, and we established a constitutional republic. If there's ever a monarchy in America, it probably wouldn't be like instituted in name. We might have a Caesar-like figure. Potentially within our lifetime, somebody comes to power and they, maybe. I mean, look, we had Franklin Delano Roosevelt. He was technically, if he'd served his final term, he would have been president for 16 years. I mean, that's longer than many monarchs served, their terms. So eventually term limits might go away. The executive branch might seize more power, resist the Supreme Court and the, rule by judicial fiat that we currently live under. And we might have a powerful executive president, Caesar-like character in America. But I can't imagine we ever have like a formal monarchy where there's like a church relation and there's like a coronation and he's enthroned and there's like a dynasty. I don't really see there being like a traditional hereditary absolute monarchy. Places like Russia, absolutely, it could happen. Georgia, totally. I mean, countries that already have it that could become more powerful. Obviously, I mean, look, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, these are very powerful absolute monarchies. Japan, you could potentially see the emperor somehow come to get more power or something like this. Any number of African countries. I mean, they already are ruled by, military strongmen almost entirely. You've got countries like Liechtenstein that are ruled by an absolute prince, who basically controls everything. So I don't think that I don't really think that America as a like political entity could ever like transition into a monarchy, especially not like the Byzantine Empire. I just don't see that ever happening. America, if there ever is a monarchy sort of that really is institutionalized with a hereditary, a whole system and everything, that would have to be after the United States as we know it effectively collapses and breaks up and either reforms or, a part of the continent as we understand it that becomes its own political entity, institutes a monarchy. That's what I would say about that. But, who knows, right? Maybe such radical change is coming that I'm just not thinking big enough, but being a little bit realistic at least. But yeah, the other things that have been obviously going on that I want to talk about before we hop into some ethnoguesser, maybe before I go off on some other issues. Obviously, they still haven't found the Brown University shooter from Rhode Island, which is crazy. And of course, we're still witnessing the fallout from the Bondi Beach, Australia shooting, which Dimitri and I do discuss in the latest episode of World War Now that has been filmed and is going to be coming out hopefully in the next 48 hours. But let's share this for now. But how do I make myself bigger here? Yeah, there we go. Got to see my own handsome face. But Who was shot with a clone? What are we talking about? Yeah, yeah. Someone says, yeah. I was thinking of this too. Someone says, doesn't Trump say he doesn't need to ask God for forgiveness or something like that at some point? Yes, he says that. He's like, oh, I don't need to ask for forgiveness. I don't know if he was doing some like, I prefer to. I mean, except he obviously wasn't saying I want to ask forgiveness, not permission. I guess he prefers to ask permission, not forgiveness, which not very badass thing to say. But yeah, he said that stuff. He said all sorts of things. Obviously, he doesn't understand anything about Christianity or the Bible or anything like that. So we got to understand that. I mean, and the thing is, it's come full circle, right? Like I remember right when I started supporting Trump, everyone knew that. Everyone's like, "Oh, Trump is a bad guy. Trump's an asshole." All this kind of stuff. But he says the right things. He might have the power and the sort of wherewithal to do what needs to be done to save the country. And sure, do I regret voting for him those times? Absolutely not. And not that again, my individual vote wouldn't have changed anything. I live in Texas, but the as far as like what we thought was going to happen, I mean, it's a combination of no, he didn't have the power to do that. Nobody really does. The change, the rot is far too systemic. Plus, I think we all have now learned a lot more about. We've all learned a lot more about how the world really functions. Whoa, big super chat here from Tatiana M Photography, $50. Thank you for the huge super chat. I got to text so fat I gotta sit up so people can see my face. Okay, let's make the thing bigger here. Says, hi, Conrad. Thoughts on the prophecy that America will be destroyed? I loved your Z Media appearance. Any hunch on when it will happen? Can we prepare? If not our generation, then our kids. Maybe leave the country. Where to? Well, look, I don't know if America will be destroyed outright. I don't know if that's exactly. I mean, even the worst ones from like, again, thank you so much for the $50. Greatly appreciated. Tatiana, big supporter of the show. We greatly appreciate it. I really need to get an entropy link set up so people can super chat without YouTube taking such a big cut. But we appreciate it. It makes it easy for tech illiterate people like me with the YouTube stuff. But thank you also. Yeah, good job mentioning the Z Media interview. Maybe I should pull that up as well. What would be the best way to find that? Let me do that real quick. But yeah, while I'm looking for this, again, I don't think America will be like entirely destroyed. Like everyone's going to die. Everyone's going to die. I mean, some things say like 90% of people will die, which, really hoping that doesn't happen, really praying. We got to be repenting on behalf of our neighbors and people that may not be Christian or Orthodox or religious. We got to be doing everything we can so that that doesn't happen because, yeah, here we go. If you see this, my interview, Z Media, right here with Maria Z. You can check it out on my profile. You can check it out on her Rumble page, the Z Media Rumble page. She posts about it on her on her Twitter and on other things. But back to answering your question, Tatiana, I do believe that America is going to face some natural disasters. Maybe if you're on the West Coast, maybe consider not being near the ocean. Maybe consider, getting west of the Cascade or east of the Cascade Mountains or in the mountains or something like this. So again, I'm not making any predictions. I have no idea how or when these things are going to go, but I would say do that. I think that a lot of other countries, things wouldn't be great either. And again, you got to square the fact that, again, if we don't know exactly when this is going to happen, you don't want to uproot your entire family, move them to some foreign land, and have your kids sort of grow up in a sort of half-baked situation where they don't have a community and their parents don't even speak the language where they live and the parents are figuring it out just as much as they are. If you're already sort of in a situation where you don't have a huge community, you're somewhat alienated from society, maybe you're living in a dying rural area already, then sure, go move somewhere, find some people on the internet, online, or through other church means that you know about, and find a community abroad. But don't don't just jump ship from America because you think the grass is greener per se. I mean, America is a great place. I've spent a lot of time in a lot of other countries. Not only is America a great place, America is a great place to be Orthodox in particular. I mean, we have some amazing recent saints here, Seraphim Rose, Elder Ephraim, and we have a huge surge of Orthodox people here. I mean, this is where the mission work in many ways needs to be done. So, don't abandon that too quickly because, let's say 90% of people are going to die, but, maybe the Orthodox will be the ones that are preserved, and we're going to have to be the ones to help the remnant. We're going to have to be the ones to preach the gospel and help people when things go wrong. I mean, St. Cosmas of Aetolia, he talks about, have two rifles so that they take one, you retain another. have a donkey. And Metropolitan Neophytos has reiterated, have a donkey in a field where you can, grow some things and have a well with water that you can provide for your neighbor when these things happen. So that is that is a very that's the situation, I think. So everybody's got to oh boy, we got the $10, Jonathan Kelly. Been telling women on Hinge to watch your interviews with Z Media. It hasn't worked yet, but hopefully you got a few more views. Thanks, man. That's every view counts, So yeah, if you're not mentioning World War Now within the first 4 or 5 messages on dating apps, I mean, what are you doing? You're cooked, right? So immediately mention your niche religious interests. Immediately mention your esoteric eschatological opinions. Immediately mention whatever bigoted opinions you may have about minorities or women. That's how you get a wife and secure a girlfriend in 2025. You heard it here first, folks. Just chud out, just incel max, and it's all going to go well. That's you heard it here first from Conrad Franz. But thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Tatiana. Thank you, Silver Sight. Thank you, Porphyrios. We've got the super chat gang here so far. Solid viewership here. I really need to pull up the what's going on with the subsection. Oh, we got 30. Hey, shut up, Conrad. Yeah, I guess we got 39 or so, 40 people in the Substack. Hello to everybody in the Substack chat. Eventually I'm going to get the thing pulled up to where I can be in the chat. But as of right now, I still don't think the streaming software shows up in the live chat or anyone. I can't see anything from the live chat in Substack. So yeah, I can see people in the chat from the chat on X. So if you're on X, feel free to text in the chat because I will be able to see what you were saying. But back to the, my loosely scheduled programming that I had before I yapped about anything else. So what's going on in Thailand and Cambodia? And for people that want to learn more about this conflict, obviously we talked about it a bit in the latest World War Now episode, but someone who's, especially on this specific region, is one of my favorite sources of news. Brian Berletic has a new video about this. So you go to YouTube and just type in the new atlas. Maybe I should pull this up myself. Got to inform the people, Yeah, so if you go to the new atlas, you can watch.
I have read another article
from Brian Berletic. Like that one up. He explains the conflict, and he seems to look. In this situation, I will preface it, possibly not unbiased. He lives in Thailand, so for whatever that's worth, but he seems very convinced, and he presents a lot of evidence as to why it likely is the U.S. convincing Cambodia to wage this battle against Thailand to sort of, again, surround China's periphery with these sort of conflicts to drain their resources, keep them distracted on multiple fronts, disrupt because Thailand and China have a massive trade relationship. I mean, Thailand, massive economy, 70 million people, China right there, very easy high-speed rail trade routes that they have. And so again, the idea that China would be supporting Cambodia in a war against Thailand would be very silly right now. So I had suspected something similar for a long time, but check this video out. It's a good Thai-Cambodia conflict threatens Asian stability by design. It's some good analysis, so I would definitely recommend checking that out. But what do we have here from the latest on from the map here? It says the stupid ad doesn't let me read. What's going on? There we go. It says a curfew has been imposed in Thailand. No. The ad is cucking me out of reading the thing. On Thailand near a Cambodian border following renewed armed clashes, the two countries are accusing each other of violations and airstrikes. Thai premier denies that Thailand and Cambodia had agreed to stop fighting. This is all a day ago. So, yeah, China, I know, has been attempting to mediate some kind of negotiations between the two. But as I mentioned in the latest episode of World War Now that you'll see when we watch it, the Thai government is in a state of transition right now. The prime minister stepped down. The current government is a transitional government that technically doesn't have the power to negotiate, war surrender type things. So for the next 60 days, in theory, I think anybody besides, I guess, the Thai king himself probably can't negotiate with Cambodia. So the fighting, in theory, is going to continue. I don't know. I mean, hostilities could die down, but things could. People are asking, what website is this? This is Live UA Map, which, if you've been keeping up with things for a while, you know it's. I mean, it got most well known for keeping up specifically with Syria and Ukraine, those two countries that you can look those up on this website. But when other things get relevant, they have them. Obviously, they've got Myanmar. They've got this now after the past few months with Thailand and Cambodia. They've got Venezuela. You can look at all the U.S. ships. They've got Gaza, West Bank, a lot of Palestine, Lebanon stuff as well. So yeah, if you want to look along with me, check out Live UA Map. It's not like the most accurate. You gotta like you're not going to get the latest news on this. Like I said, this is a day old. Whereas I've gotten several. I mean, if I just check Telegram right now, I've gotten several updates much more recently than 24 hours regarding the Thai Cambodia conflict. But it has maps. It geolocates where a lot of these things happen. See, this is 7 days ago on where this rocket happened. It says 2 Royal Thai Air Force fighter jets, an F-16 and a JAS-39 Gripen carried out an airstrike on casino and scammer bases in the Osmak area. Yeah, and I've seen the images of that. That's confirmed. Of the casino is up in smoke. So they really took out some gamblers. That'd be crazy. Just imagine just playing the slots on some Cambodia, and then suddenly just you get blown up. That's crazy. But so we got some live breaking on Telegram. Trump's Jewing out. It says Miriam Adelson, an Israeli billionaire and Trump's largest campaign donor, said she'll give Trump another $250 million if he runs for a 4th term. Speak of the devil, we're asking about monarchy. I just spoke to Alan Dershowitz, and he said it's legal to go 4 more years. We can do it. Think about it. I'll give you the money. That's crazy. So the biggest Jewish Zionist in the world, donor, casino owner as well. Speak of the devil, just talking about the casino. Miriam Adelson, her and her husband Sheldon, she now runs the Sands Casino Dynasty, which owns a whole lot of the casino resorts you'd play in Vegas. They now own the Dallas Mavericks. If you're a basketball fan, which I'm not, I don't watch the NBA. I don't watch basketball. I don't watch N-ball. But they own the Mavericks, and everyone remembers the Luka Doncic trade, the super good player that was traded for no apparent good reason. It was because Miriam Adelson and the casino Jews were trying to basically pressure the Texas legislature, Dallas city government, all these areas to make a carve out for her and her casino resorts to have legal casino gambling in Texas, which casino gambling in Texas is currently illegal. But because of this, they basically punished the team and ruined the Mavericks, who they had acquired to build this big resort. They wanted to build this big resort next to the Maverick Stadium, make a whole thing out of it. That basically got killed because no one wanted to the Texas government didn't fold and legalize casino gambling, so they sold Luka Doncic and screwed the team over and messed with the Mavericks, and now, everyone's mad. There's no good reason for it. But, that's why you don't care about bread and circuses, because it's all literally controlled by Hebes anyway. Beauty of the struggle, $8.88. Beautiful number. I love the number 8. He says, I just hope that everyone is having a blessed nativity fast. That is all. Thank you, my friend. I haven't heard from you in a while, so hit me up. Tell me how the fam is doing. We all miss you here in ATX, but what else did I have to read or hear? Sorry, I got distracted by this absurdity about Trump. We got Trump and Trump for another term. We break the 2-term limit rule, right around almost 100 years, 80, 90 years since it's been sort of instituted. I mean, I guess it's time. I mean, I have no attachment to, like I said, I'm a monarchist. I'm not a democratizer. I don't believe in term limits or any of this kind of nonsense. I mean, I don't believe in term limits for senators or congressmen already. And people always say, like, oh, we got to have term limits. But it's like, look, term limits mean that it will become institutionalized, that the machine will make sure they always know how to pick the next guy and fund them before the next election, before anything can ever get changed. If you don't have term limits, you actually force elections and people to actually campaign, and actually, eventually you have to convince people to get some of these dinosaurs out. And there's good examples of that. Those are the best people in Congress, are often the people that, initially fought for the seat against the establishment, the entrenched person, then they get in. So that's what you don't want to do. That's why you don't want to have the Ole-based term limits, heckin' Republican Reno. But yes, here's some more news about the Cambodia-Thailand war from yesterday. It says Cambodia says Thai airstrikes hit home province of heritage temples. Cambodia accused Thailand on Monday of striking deep inside its territory, bombing areas less than a 2-hour drive from the country's main tourist draw, the centuries-old Angkor temples, in a reignited border conflict. Dozens of people were killed in 5 days of fighting in July before a truce was brokered and then broken within months, part of a long-standing conflict rooted in the colonial area demarcation of the country's 800-kilometer frontier. Renewed fighting between the Southeast Asian neighbors this month has killed at least 28 people, including soldiers and civilians, and displaced around 800,000 officials. 800,000 officials said. Each side has blamed the other for instigating the fighting, claiming self-defense and trading accusations of attacks on civilians. Cambodia, which is outgunned and outspent by Thailand's military, said Thai forces had expanded their attack deep into Cambodian territory on Monday morning. Cambodia's defense ministry said in a statement that a Thai fighter jet had bombed near a displaced civilians camp in the area of Srei Snom district, Siem Reap province. Information Minister Nath Phiaktra told AFP it was the first time during the renewed clashes that Thailand's militaries had bombed areas of Siem Reap province, the home of the Angkor temple complex. Yeah, I've heard of, Angkor Wat. It's like the most famous thing in Cambodia. I'm pretty sure if you look at the Cambodian flag, which obviously isn't on here, but if you look at the Cambodian flag, which is one of my favorite flags, actually, I believe it is the Angkor Wat temple. Yes. The flag of Cambodia. I believe that is Angkor Wat. Well, this will tell us, right? Yes. The Cambodian flag is a picture of Angkor Wat. I think this is a very aesthetic flag. I think this is an example of cool flag design. Maybe I'll do a vexillology episode sometime in the future, but we'll have to figure all that out. Dang, we've already been streaming for 43 minutes. It's just easy to be yapping these days, I guess. But if anyone else has any questions, feel free to send in a super chat. It's been a great few donations and everything. So thank you again, everybody, for the support. If you aren't already, be sure, like I said, check out my extensive, it's, 2.5 hours, my conversation with Maria Z. It's some really great stuff. We're talking about the eschatological visions of the blessed. Hopefully we can have Jonathan from the Eschaton Vigil on to talk about this one in the near future. It's a real gem, real wealth of information in here about, what we be talking about here for real, no cap. So check this out, and be sure to just check out my profile on X, on Twitter. Follow me. Got to get me to 12K followers, guys. I've been stagnated. The shadow banning is crazy. We got to get me pushed over. So again, even if you're not on that Bird app on Twitter, just make a dang account. Follow me. You don't have to be on it, but follow me. Turn on post notifications for me, and just like and retweet all that content. That's how you can. That's how you can be a real world worn out patriot. Of course, not that there aren't already dozens of those in chat right now. So thank you again all so much for joining us here. The Ethno Guesser is fast approaching, but word from our sponsors. Antelope Hill Publishing. Have you not got your Christmas presents yet? I believe with the fast shipping feature on certain titles that aren't sold out, you would be able to get the books that you want from Antelope Hill Publishing with 10% off with code WWN, of course, if you order them now. So I'm dropping the link in the chat. Get some books, books about Hitler if you've got friends that are into that, the transgender industrial complex, all sorts of, the theory of Japan's national polity and pure socialism, the new version of culture of critique. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. I mean, that's just a legendary right-wing title. And Kevin MacDonald, wanted to go with Antelope Hill for publishing the newest version. So you really can't go wrong there. All sorts of other fantastic books. I mean, you've got Adolf Hitler in his own words. You've got the Lord Miles in Afghanistan book. Some really great stuff. The American Regime by an anonymous January 6th prisoner. We've got some J6 literature. So again, don't miss out on this one. 10% off with code WWN helps us out. So yeah, thank you all again for tuning in. And this is, I myself am buying Christmas presents from this place. So this isn't just, not selling out. This is a product I use. This is a service that I myself enjoy. So there's that. But I'm trying to think before we dive into Ethno Guesser. Is there anything, what do we want to talk about? People are asking about Candace Owens, Charlie Kirk, Erica Kirk. I haven't kept up with any of that. I'll be honest, maybe I'll have to yap about it at a different time. I need to start doing more Twitter spaces to just get more of my thoughts out there about day-to-day stuff like that, because some of it I really don't want to, devote a whole space on my recorded Substack, to. But the big thing as well has been these shootings. Of course, nobody has the Brown University shooter in Rhode Island still at large. They thought it was this Palestinian guy. There was some gate analysis, and I don't know, completely real gate analysis had been ongoing to see that who this person was, and the gate analysis appears to have not been accurate. The person has been clear; they don't seem to have been involved in the shooting, because many people are saying it was some kind of left wing activist that was doing this, because one of the people that was shot was the vice president of the Republican Club at Brown University, which again, Ivy League school, very elite university. So it's disturbing that, again, the FBI, I mean, we don't know anything about Thomas Crooks. We still don't really know anything about Tyler Robinson and what went down there. We don't know anything about this guy. We haven't caught him yet. All this other stuff. And now apparently, the Epstein files thing, and I was, I don't want to just seem schizophrenic, but we were talking about Venezuela earlier. Trump is apparently making a huge announcement tomorrow, December 17th in the evening, which many suspect might be some kind of announcement for war with Venezuela. It may not be. It may be a red herring, but something is coming, some kind of big announcement. And of course, on Friday, the Epstein files are scheduled to be released. So Trump might be, it wouldn't surprise me if, some kind of war type situation, Trump really goes in on that so that people are less focused on the Epstein release when that goes down, because it's probably going to look bad for Trump. I don't think it's going to be anything criminal for Trump or enough to do that, but it's probably going to look pretty bad if it's worse than the stuff that we already know, which is pretty bad. We got $10 here from eWar Mapping. Why do you think Russia is holding back on a full-scale attack on Ukraine? Well, there's a lot of reasons. I think there's probably a lot of corruption in the Russian military, where people are not, they're not capable of operating at their full capacity, because people are using the state of war for their own personal benefit. More so than that, a big thing is I really don't think Russia wants to conquer a lot of these cities by force. I mean, even just parts of Kharkov where there was fighting, it's very bad. I've been to Donetsk, I've been to these places, the cities. The urban warfare is where it gets really bad. That's where people die. That's where infrastructure really gets destroyed. That's where rebuilding costs, urban development and stuff gets into the billions of dollars very quickly when you have to rebuild war zones. Because look, it was billions of dollars from the George Floyd protest. Nobody was launching artillery. Nobody was using drones that blow up. It was just black people in bricks and burning down some auto zones and McDonald's. And that was gotten the billions of dollars of damage around the country in several cities. So imagine how much damage it is and how much it costs to rebuild when there's multiple launch rocket systems destroying entire malls and, just schools destroyed, housing just carpet bombed. Just huge amounts of destruction here. So obviously they don't want to do that. The Russians, I think they really, again, the goal is demilitarization. So they want to make sure they're killing as many Ukrainian soldiers without destroying Ukrainian infrastructure, which obviously the Ukrainians are adapting their strategies to not allow the Russians to achieve that agenda, right? To, in theory, maximize the lives of their soldiers while forcing Russia to have to do damage to territories that they take. Obviously, again, from my perspective, Russia needs to take Odessa, Nikolaev, obviously Kherson, Zaporozhye, Kharkov. That's millions of people. These are cities with millions and millions of population. Kharkov is the second largest city in Ukraine. That's a lot of people. So the Ukrainians are obviously making it clear and trying to make it seem to the Russians that that's just not really possible. So that's sort of my perspective on it. The Russians may have to abandon their current strategy and just go scorched earth, but I think they still want to achieve diplomatically a lot of these places that in theory they think they can, specifically Kherson and Zaporozhye. I think in their minds they can obtain those diplomatically with concessions and negotiations. If I have to be honest at this point, I'd be surprised if the Russian leadership thinks Odessa is realistic, but I do think situations could change. The regime in Ukraine and Kiev could become a lot more unstable. Other escalations with the United States through other proxies could have something happen, and then I think Russia might again be sort of forced to move into Kharkov and Odessa and these other places. That's how I think things are generally going to go down and the prophecies are going to be fulfilled. As much as I wish they would be fulfilled because the Russians understand their role as this cataclysmic figure to retake Constantinople and to resist the Antichrist, I don't think that's why it's going to happen. I think the Russians, through geopolitical circumstance, are going to be forced into playing the role that the Lord has for them to play, right? So we're 51 minutes in here. No super chats right now. I think it's time we do what we got to do here. Play some ethno guesser. Am I right or am I right? Maybe I'll go on some rants during the ethno guesser. We gotta keep complaining about women, man. We gotta keep giving it to the females. Obviously women in this chat need not apply. Of course, y'all are y'all are the good ones, no worries. But we women are off the goop, for the females are just off the chain. We're at a civilizational crisis and and look, I looked at the data and we need one more angry incel live streaming complaining about it. That's actually what that's what the doctor ordered. That's what society needs. And look, now that I'm on the scene here to complain into my webcam and microphone about women, things are all going to be solved, right? So you can look forward to that. Maybe I'll hold off on the ladies today, but we're going to have to be reacting to some content because I've seen some stuff it's just crazy what's going on with you know the gender sexual marketplace. It's things are cooked. That was, society is not okay. That's a big part of it. Of course, I believe some of the latest, I also made the title Society is Not Okay, having to do with the shooting in Australia. I think it's 15, 16 killed. One of them, people killed, was one of the shooters by these radical Wahhabists. I guess they were Pakistani by ethnicity, or maybe Indian. I think they said that they actually lived in India and had gotten military training in the Philippines. So that seems, of course, they were known and on the radar of the Australian federal authorities, as everyone in these situations always is. He was known to the CIA. He was known to the FBI. He was, that's what we always hear. But no, it appears that the son was born in Australia. The father was not. Whether they were citizens is unclear. But again, as I mentioned again in the World War Now episode that's going to come out soon, the only consequences of this is going to be gun control and a crackdown on anti-Semitism, which means the borders will stay open. Radical Islam will face no consequences. These mosques, nothing's going to happen there. But people like Thomas Sowell and Joel Davis, these, neo-Nazis, these white anti-Semites, these white radical people, right-wingers, they're going to be, Joel Davis is currently in jail. Tom Sowell is, facing multiple years in jail. These people are just going to get clamped down on hard, and their organizations are probably going to be entirely decapitated, and they're going to spend years and years in prison, despite the fact that they are the only ones advocating for the policies that would have actually prevented something like this happening, which is White Australia policy, remigration, completely closing the borders to all third world immigrants. That's what the situation calls for. That's the only adequate response to radical Islamic terror, or any of this kind of stuff. And I would even say it's the solution to white terrorism, because, quote unquote, white terrorism, or terrorism committed by any antisocial, lone wolf individual white person, that's how that usually goes. That's also that's a symptom of alienation and deracination, and the conditions that society, that have now manifested in society, that come out of mass immigration and, the degradation of a traditional homogenous society. So it's all downhill from this kind of stuff. It's all downhill from the terrorism that world Jewry has inflicted on the European population of the world. And I think, what was it, Nick Fuentes was making a good point, how, the Australian government in this, with the thing that I just said and have said on the show, which we recorded on, when did we record the show? Saturday, Sunday? I can't remember. But the governments of these countries, of the Western countries, are at war with the white people, like the immigrants, the Jewish groups, even the terrorists. Like those are proxies, or sometimes even inconvenient actors. But fundamentally, the governments are at war with the native European populations, and that is what we are. That is indeed what we are witnessing. But time to lock in on some ethno guesser, a real politically correct stream we got going here. But everybody lock in. Is everybody ready? if you've already played along today, don't spoil the daily game. People can, in theory, go through before and let me know how this round plays. But we like to be fair here, so play in the moment and just give it your honest guesses. All right, these look like East Africans to me. Like these look like Sudan, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Somalia. Like I'm thinking Bing there, you know, maybe Somalia and Ethiopia, or maybe right here, these are a bit of internal hedges here, but I'm thinking one of these two places unless somebody in the chat. Nigeria. I don't know, diggity dog. They don't be looking that Nigerian. They'd be looking a little Nilotic though. They'd be looking a little Nilotic, a little Red Sea looking. Yeah, Parisians. They say my son got a perfect 9 out of 10 rounds, an average score of 4927. Wow. I don't think I've ever gotten a score that good, so I'm impressed. All right, nobody's shouting it out. Everyone's speculating about other things, but I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm going on the Sudan, Eritrea, Ethiopia border. That's right, baby. Bullseye. North Ethiopia. This is why we play the game, baby. Good round. Good start. Oh. These look like Mongolians. People from like around here, maybe. Or maybe, no, I don't know. What do the Asians in chat think? Yeah, I think Mongolians, but like, are we thinking like over here or near Kazakhstan, or like over here, like up here? Not snowy, sandy. So what is that, like Gobi Desert or what's the desert in Mongolia? Is it like, what's someone saying Kazakh? I think they got a bit of a Kazakh vibe, maybe hit it over here. Speak a little Chinese to him, Derek. Blow these people's mentality. What were you saying in the cell? That General Sao shit. Saying Northwest Mongolia. A little more south than Mongolia. So what, you're thinking like here? Like I'm seeing some of the Kazakh. Like if it's Kazakh, I'm gonna be, the woman especially is looking a little got that Kazakh in her. Like I'm thinking maybe here. I'm gonna hedge. I'm gonna go in China, in between Kazakhstan and Mongolia. Wow. Guess it didn't matter. That's a big way to start off. Perfect score and a 0. Dang. Athabascans, Northern Pacific variety, heavily influenced by, yeah, man, this is some real land bridge stuff, man. Wow. Yeah, I guess I should have thought of yeah, you were telling me all about sand people, bro. These are straight seal clubbers, bro. Like these are straight walrus people, man. Lock that in, everybody. Bzzz. These are African Canadian type Asians. So let's remember that. All right, let's redeem ourselves. Oh boy. These look like poncho people. beans and rice type characters. What are y'all thinking? I mean, this makes me think immediately. I mean, you've got like Guatemala, Nicaragua, Honduras. We've also potentially got like Peru, Ecuador. I mean, it's somewhere here, I mean, not the Galapagos Islands themselves, but some surrounding country. Anyone have any ideas what people are saying? Chileans? I mean, yeah, I mean, all the brown people and the indigenous people sort of be looking like that. I see what you're saying. I don't know about Venezuela. I could see Chile, I could see Ecuador, I could see Peru, I could see Bolivia. Yeah, maybe like let's go here. Okay. They're like Argentine, Paraguay. Oh, I guess if we had just gone La Paz, it would have been a bingo. Oh, I guess it did give me a 5,000. That's good. We can rock with that. We can rock with that. Okay. Now, to me, this is going to be either like some of this or potentially some of this and maybe some of this, but I don't really be knowing about all this. But I mean, my initial gut instinct is like boom, but sometimes you got to be like boom. So what are y'all thinking? Yeah, unfortunately, the DMV help desk was not colonized by this phenotype until the 1980s. So that this goes back farther than that, unfortunately. $5 from Tatiana. She says, yes, Eschaton Vigil is amazing. Truly a must membership for all Orthodox. I joined them after your Z Media video. Well, that's great to hear that you are supporting Jonathan because what he's doing is great. He's getting a huge icon of St. John Vatatz's commission. He's got more translations and prophecy books coming. So support what he's doing there. But we got to get some analysis on these Africans people. Like, what skull we need some skull analyzers. We need facial phenotype analyzers to tell us. Because look, I mean, it's a big point difference if it's in West or Southern Africa here, and obviously I could hedge in Central Africa, but it could still be a 0 point. It could still be a very minimal pointer. I need somebody to help me in the chat so I can blame somebody when it's wrong and not take accountability for my actions. Because I'm kind of feeling some of this down here, like some Zambia even or something like that. But like, I don't know. I mean, there's also like Rwanda. These like Hutus, Hutu or Tutsi, Ugandans maybe. I don't know. Cameroon. Let's what's he saying? He said, "I fear the Bantu migration." All right, let's do it then. Let's do some over here. They're always over here in Sudan, man. The Mundu Mangbeto, intermediate type of the northeastern Congo forest, unique in connecting elements of the tallest Nilo-Hamitic and shortest bamboo-tid. See, Hamitic. These are Hamites. Cursed by God with dark skin and that's why they be looking like that. Shortest bamboo-tid phenotypes in the world, the Congolesid, especially found in the northeast. Okay. All right. Sudan, DR Congo. How many points did I get? 1,000. Wow, that's no good. It's all right, though. Still points. Oh. Look, I've gotten this before and I totally got it wrong. Are these like Khoisans or something? Are these like Khoisan people in South Africa? Or am I tripping? I think that's what I'm looking at. Like, I don't know what else this would be. Some Southeast Asian nonsense? Yeah, yeah. It says neither black nor Chinese. This is what you would look like if you were black, not black or Chinese. This is what you would look like if you were black and Chinese. Yeah, this got to just be some Khoisan South Africans. Let's just lock this in. Yeah. Strand looper. Dang it, I guess I didn't know exactly where they live. But yeah, almost extinct Khoisanid type. Yeah, so we got strand loopers. They go from Gibera all the way up to Windhoek in Namibia. So lock in near Cape Town when you get the strand loopers. But yeah, I knew what was going on. I know my obscure near extinct phenotypes. Speak a little Chinese to him, Derek. Blow these people's mentalities. All right. Look, I mean, Shorty's kind of looking like my future wife, whereas homie's looking like, I don't know. These guys is a high IQ phenotype, I guess. But what is this? Is this like some of this, some of this? And this is kind of what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Black Sea type characters. I mean, maybe like some of this. Click, click, rare linguist. Oh yeah, the Khoisans, they talk like. Is that how they talk? I don't know. Is that a Khoisan thing? Yeah, I mean, obviously these are like, it's all like, around here. Like, I fear it could be maybe like over here, or it could be here. I guess it could be here. Hot, therefore Lebanon. Nah, bro, I got beef with Lebanese women, man. We going the hot Arabs, they in Gaza and the West Bank and in Jordan and maybe Syria. I mean, maybe do we hedge and go Cyprus? Do we go Turkish Cyprus? I'm not seeing any good arguments in the chat. For some reason, I'm not getting like Christian vibes. I'm kind of thinking Maltese. Interesting. The Maltese Falcon. In the 10 seconds, if nobody says some other good idea, I'm going to probably guess Cyprus or like somewhere within a few clicks of that area on Syria or Turkey. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. We're doing this. Ooh. These were Gracile Mediterraneans, which thankfully guessing where I did in Cyprus sort of helped us. Well, I was sort of right. It was just that whole it was just that whole area. So I guess that's that. It's just like some Mediterranean looking ass. Mediterranean proper, smaller than other Mediterraneans, the most Gracile. So I guess it's like Greece, basically. Like real Greek, Spain. Yeah, like Iberia, southern Greece, Italy. So yeah. Almost perfect. 47.15, so almost a 5K. But these are some brown people. These are some straight call to prayer minaret type characters. Are these just like Arabians? Like these straight Arabs, just straight up? Like that's what it looks like to me. Like these look like people that made babies with black people and created like these type characters. So I'm thinking these are like Gulf heads. You know, some of these Norwoods. Yeah, Ewar saying UAE/Saudi. That's sort of what I'm thinking. Persian Gulf type characters. Libya. Well, he said he got a 9 out of 10 in the game earlier. I don't want to go against that. Says they don't look like oil tablecloth people. I don't know, bro. You tell me this guy, like, look at this guy on the left and tell me you couldn't see his ass in a thobe. And don't tell me this woman on the right, you couldn't see her, you know, dressed up like a black Klansman. I could see that guy thobed up for sure. But, you know, Yarn Chicken throwing in Libya there, throwing us all off. So, Chad, I'm gonna need to know if we're thinking Libya or if we're thinking whatever. He says, kid looks more Syrian. No, dude, bro, you're off today, bro. This guy's not Syrian. He might have a slightly similar head shape to Bashar, but this guy's like 4 shades darker with darker eyes. Nah, totally different species, man. All right. We're locking in Libya. You know, no hate if it's wrong, but you know, we're gonna find out. All right, we're back. Libyid. Yid. We are trusting the wisdom of the youth from the mouth of the babes. We respect the young child of Yarn Chicken, the Yarn Chick. So thank you for the tip. Very very solid bullseye here. On to question 8 out of 10. All right. This is some straight Kyrgyz, Uzbek, Tad, you know, this is like this has to be Kyrgyzstan. Like that's what this has to be, right? There's got to be some Kyrgyz or some part of Russia, like Tatar, like Tatarstan or something. Because right now, this is looking pretty Kyrgyz to me. It's either Kyrgyz or just like in Russia somewhere. Like that's what this has to be. Any input here? Anybody convicted against Kyrgyzstan? Because that's where I'm probably going to throw it down. Specifically, if anyone knows where this would be within Russia proper. Like, could this be like here? Or like out here? They don't look quite as Chinese as some like real, like they could be more Chinese looking. So I guess we'll try. All right. Trans-Caspians. I guess they're technically more Uzbek, Tajik, Turkmen, true Turkmens, but still a 5,000. So it's still a 5K. That's what we do. It's a good round. Pretty good round so far. Too bad I got that 0 on the freaking Alaskan Eskimo ass motherfuckers, but all right. Man. I can't tell. Are these like Polynesian Melanesians or are these like jungle folk? What are we thinking, chat? Where are these brown people from? Far south, Southeast Asians. So we're thinking like What are these like? These ain't Samoans. What are these like? These people from like Timor Leste, East Timor people, maybe? Like these type characters. Someone's saying Philippines, New Guinea. Or we're thinking like Malay ass motherfuckers. Like, I guess they could be Cambodians. Yeah, Malaysians. Are these the people fighting in the Thai-Cambodian War? Yeah, you said that this person just looked like this one over here does look kind of like Craig Trulia's wife. So we might be having to throw that in there. Anyone object? Because I think I'm locking in this this peninsular Cambodia here in the next 10 seconds or so. It's crazy. We got the flag of Cambodia pulled up right here, you know? It all comes back around. All right. Locking it in. Yes. Straight Khmerid. Easy money. Couldn't have done it better myself. Cambodian. That's how we do it. Thank you, Porphyrios. You redeemed yourself from the Mongol disaster from before. 10 out of 10. All right. Some true Asians. Some true slopes, as we call them. And I can say that because we got Asian mods in chat, baby. But where are these guys from? You know, these look like more sophisticated Asians. These look like Asians, you know, that be taking the subway. Yeah, these could be Japanese almost, you know. I'm thinking maybe, you know, maybe some Osaka heads, you know, maybe down here. It's kind of how I'm feeling. It's kind of what I'm vibing with right now, you know. They seem like nice folks. There's like a pretty Asian gal, and this guy looks like he'd, you know, he'd help you out if he saw you, you know, trying to find your train on the subway. It's just my perspective. If anyone else has thoughts about this, about these Orientals, please let them be voiced now. As in the next 20, 30 seconds, we'll be locking in Japan, unless anyone else has input, because that's what I'm seeing here. Yeah, I know. Anyone on Korea? Why, you know, what's the Korea analysis here? Is there any thoughts on that? Speak a little Chinese for him, Derek. Blow these people's mentality. All right, Japan, it is. And we just don't miss, baby. Boom, Hiroshima. I had a feeling these were Hiroshima heads, you know, getting nuked up. But boom, one of our better live rounds, and we had a whole 0 in there. So I think this is why we play the game, everybody. This is why we lock in week after week. Chikuzen, special Japanese type, like a shiny Pokemon, influenced by ancient regional elements, named after the old Chikuzen province that is today part of the Fukuoka prefecture. All right, well, how do I see my total score? You scored an average of 3,944. You had 6 perfect rounds. Everyone remember that. 6 perfect rounds. Clip it. This is my benchmark. Very good average, almost 4,000 average per round. 6 perfect rounds, and that's one of those was a 0. So those 6 perfect rounds, we had this one. We had the Libya guess from Yarn Chicken's son. We had, it gave me the 5,000 on the one in South America. I got it on the Kyrgyz looking ass characters, and on I'm forgetting the other ones again, but yeah, we get it. 6 perfect rounds. Really good game here, everybody. Thanks everybody for tuning in. $5 from Jonathan Kelly. Once again, if I was a worm, would you still read my super chat? I would, my friend, and I would be asking, how are you sending a super chat as a worm? Are you inside the Apple? Is that the idea? You're inside an Apple device and you're sending the super chat? That'd be my question. But yes, my friend, no, any ladies out there, if you were a worm, I would not date you. But if you are still willing and able to send super chats, I will accept them as worms. So thank you, Jonathan. Thank you for the $5. We're an hour 20 into the stream here. Do I have any inspiration to go off on any world-changing rants? Normally after Ethnoguesser, we sort of just hang things up. But here we can have a streamception here. If people check out worldwarnow.co, got to plug the Substack, check it out, get behind the paywall towards the Ether Hour page and run wild, your heart's desire. So much content, so much analysis, so many interviews, so much good stuff. So please check the links wherever you are watching in the description. If you're on YouTube, check the link in the description, worldwarnow.co. If you're watching on X, click the profile account that you are watching this on, worldwarnow_, and the link will be right there in the bio. Again, worldwarnow.co. Lock in, get behind that paywall. Huge episode with Eva Bartlett coming out potentially, hopefully tomorrow. If not even, probably not tonight, but maybe I'll throw that out there. But Eva Bartlett interview all about Gaza, Syria, Donbass. She's been there. She's been on the ground for years. So all about that. Other big shows obviously coming up, Ether Hour episodes, huge World War Now episodes coming up. So a lot of things on the way. Like I said, check out the Ortho Christian article about yours truly with the interview. Check out my interview with Maria Z on Z Media, who again you can find on X, Rumble, all sorts of other places. I think I've encouraged her to get on Substack. I'm not sure if she is yet, but hopefully she'll be on there soon too. But check all of that out. There was a really fantastic conversation, and hopefully I'll have Maria on. We'll have her on Ether Hour to discuss some things as well. But again, if anybody has any super chats that they want to send in before I land this plane, feel free to drop those and send them in. And if you want to support in other ways, like I said, worldwarnow.co. That's what we're here. Feel free. Oh, shut up, man. But yeah, you can see if you want to watch on Substack, you can watch on Substack. It's crazy. We're on multiple platforms. Obviously, check out my Twitter account, Gnomrad, Conrad, the World War III analyst. You know him and love him. The best poster on the app, in my opinion. So go ahead and follow me on there if you haven't already. But it's been a great stream. We've talked about a lot of things. Obviously, we're going to be keeping a tab on all of the conflicts, specifically the conflict in Thailand and Cambodia, everything going on in Venezuela. We're going to be watching Trump's announcement tomorrow night. So stay tuned to the World War Now Network to see everything. Obviously, follow us on Telegram at World War Now Telly. That's where we're going to immediately be posting any kind of breaking news, because that's where the OSINT sphere really drops all this kind of stuff. So again, thank you all so much for tuning in. I want to thank everybody that tuned into the chat. I'm going to say a big thank you to everybody in the chat, as one is wont to do. Any final super chats, I will read those out, but it doesn't seem like anyone sending anything in. So we're going to get this plane landed. Once again, worldwarnow.co. Get behind the paywall. Help us out. You get access to all of the episodes right when they are released, right into your email inbox. Hoping for some improvements on the Substack app to make the user experience easier for people to delineate between World War Now and Ether Hour episodes. But all of that aside, I want to thank everyone that participated in the chat. I want to thank our big super chatters in particular: Tatiana, Jonathan Kelly, Beauty of the Struggle, Silver Sight, Porphyry, Adam, our intrepid moderator, E-War Mapping, and of course, like I said, everybody else that just joined in the chat. So again, thank you all so much. You're the ones that make this show possible. You're the ones that keeps me going, allows me to continue doing this thing as we do and bringing you guys the World War III analysis. But with all of that, it's time I landed this plane. So thank you all so much for tuning in. Have a wonderful Tuesday evening. Keep strong in the Nativity fast. Enjoy the Advent Christmas season. So with all of that, Merry, Merry, Merry Christmas. And I'll see you on the next one. God bless.